Welcome back to the Highway 49 podcast. We are back with episode 122 of the show. And today is another HB Squared edition. It's Charlotte's coming off their fifth loss of the season, this time at the hands of Army. Almost said Navy, wrong school. At Army this past week in West Point. I did not make the trip up for the game, but we are finally, it's been a month since the last home game at Richardson Stadium, and that's where we will be this weekend. Partner in crime, Hannah Brady. We actually just left there doing media. Hannah, as we always do, hit us with the best thing you've seen this week.
I mean, gotta say, the best thing I saw this weekend was obviously a Panthers dub over the Cowboys. I'm gonna be riding that high for the rest of the season. I mean, hopefully we beat the Jets, you would think. But just, man, just what a dominant game for the Panthers. And I just love it that we beat the Cowboys. I also had the chance, I was doing fall camp for my high school ministry that I lead this weekend as well. So it was just a really fruitful time to be there with them. And I love going to camp, honestly. I never really got to go when I was younger. And so like getting to go now, like as a young adult, it's really fun. And it was kind of chilly, kind of cloudy. So it was giving all the camp vibes, but just a fun weekend overall. And those are definitely the best things that I have seen so far this week. Hunter, what you got?
Definitely. I'll stay with you. Anytime the Cowboys lose, things are good, especially when the Panthers beat them. And it's good to see McMillan get his first touchdown, got two on the game. And I really like the ballsy play call late in the game. Dave
Yeah.
Canales, fourth and short. Keep the ball in your quarterback's hands. This is third year. It's kind of a put up or shut up moment in the season, really. And they get that win. And you're right. If they handle business with the Jets, Bills at home the following week, undefeated
Crazy.
at the bank, could be a ton of fun. Yeah, I'll stick with that. I really don't have another. Watching the Eagles play kind of pissed me off Thursday, so they're not in my best thing list right now. But
Hey, it's got to happen at some point, you know?
yeah, I feel like the rest of the NFL now. It had been like a year since it had been like that,
You're
so
one
it's
of
okay.
us.
I know, but yeah, it was interesting weekend of football. My favorite thing. Here's the best thing: 2 hours and 52 minute game, Charlotte versus Army.
Yeah.
Sub 3 hours. That's beautiful. Get us in, get us out of there. It's a noon kick. Get on with your Saturday. I've been very just like straight and to the point on social media about this team this year, and the product hasn't been great. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later in this pod of kind of what we want to do with this pod, where we want to take it moving forward. But first, let's talk a little bit about the Army game. Like I said, Charlotte's fifth loss of the season, fifth loss by double digits, and that game was 24-0. Army had it in control start to finish. Charlotte scored with 8 seconds left on the clock. Grayson Loftus hitting Katie Hunter Gibson for Gibson's first touchdown. So congrats to him. Hopefully he learned from Derek Ely's mistakes and kept the game ball or the touchdown ball. But just to dive into this game, Army played their game start to finish. They had the ball for almost 39 minutes a game. They came into the game averaging 35 minutes per game in the time of possession battle, which is the second best in college football. And it looked like that from start to finish. Their quarterback, Kale Helms, has a 50-yard run on the first drive of the game, sets them up. They get points. But I really thought that Charlotte missed some opportunities in this one early. I asked him about it today. They came out and ran the ball six straight times, and you move the sticks twice in a row. Uh, I don't. I know that they're not playing with a full deck. Obviously, you're on your second, third string quarterback. They're playing 10 guys on the O line. Receivers are banged up. Running backs are out. But I didn't really think Todd Fitch did a good job as far as putting Zach Wilkie, in position to play his game Saturday. Wilkie finished the game. I think it's eight of 14 for about 40 yards. And the interesting thing with him is with Wilkie in the game, Charlotte had two drives of 11 plays. Problem with these drives is neither one of them went
Yeah.
more than 30 yards. Like
Right.
none of them resulted in points. There's not a lot down the field. You kind of saw what Wilkie I guess, could be and should be utilized as when he replaced Loftus at South Florida, pushing the ball down the field to Sean Brown. And one thing with Army is they're going to sit in their zones. You're going to have to find ways as to timing routes, things like that, that are going to be zone beaters. Uh, and they brought the blitz a lot, about 50% of the time with Wilkie at quarterback. Missed opportunities there. The defense got to take away. You love to see that. Caden Schmitz, 2 games in a row for them. But really, off that, Charlotte couldn't capitalize on it, and that, in my mind, was the game. I did like Albin was aggressive on fourth down. They went for it 5 times on fourth down, which is they had went for it 6 times all season, and to go for it 5 times. The 2 big misses was a 4th and 2, and I thought it was a good call by Todd Fitch. Good to keep the offense on the field. You're in plus territory. You know you need points. The margins are way too thin. They did a quick out to Javen Nicholas, and I think the ball here has to be placed better. You know you need 2 yards. Throw the ball to the sticks or past the sticks. They come up short on that one. Like I say, I thought the play was designed well. I don't think the execution was where they needed it. And then the second one was pretty much a jump ball to Sean Brown down the sideline. And any throw to Sean Brown at this point, I think, is probably one of the offense's best opportunities.
Yeah.
This one was into double coverage and the ball was late. So 4th and 5 situation, I don't know that that would have been my play call, but like I say, it's at a point where throw it up to your playmakers. I can't hate on that too much. I did see some frustration from the fans, and I agree. I mean, it's 4th and 5. Throw the ball to the sticks. You don't need to throw it 20, 30 yards down the field. But this one, like I said, the story of the game, Army dominated time of possession, capitalized on Charlotte's turnovers. Rod Gainey put the ball on the ground twice, only one of them going to the Black Knights defense. So it's more of the same. They played 10 offensive linemen again. I did think it was interesting. EJ Mason had no targets. And then on the second drive of the third quarter, Albin decided to put Loftus in the game. And at this point, I tweeted about it. We know we didn't learn anything, right? There's nothing new coming out of Grayson Loftus tape right now. And I think objectively he played a little better at the end of the game than Wilkie. I still think Wilkie's probably your best option. And I'll give Grayson credit. He did have a 15-yard run. Didn't know he had it in him, but he got out, scrambled a little bit, and then threw a touchdown, like I say, with 8 seconds left. So if you're looking for the positives, they all came in the last 2 minutes of the game. Charlotte blocked a kick for the first time since 2022. And like I say, a young player got his first collegiate FBS touchdown. So that's kind of where you're at with that. I don't think it's gonna get a lot better. I think Wilkie's the guy you roll with moving forward. I want to see Todd Fitch cater the offense to him. And I asked Tim after the game Saturday, like, would you consider making a change and a play calling change? And he laughed and said, no, absolutely not. So asked about that. I asked about injuries too, because Hannah, I don't know if you saw the CVS receipt that they got going on the availability report right now, but there's 18 players that missed that game and 13 of those are out for the season. So
I saw that. That's brutal.
Yeah. And I asked him like a big picture question, because I remember back to last year when Biff is like, yeah, we've got 8 or 9 guys out. And if you stick around, Trexler Ivey has a nice little story about that at the end of this pod. So wait for that one. But I asked him big picture, like, how do you change this? Whether it's rest, recovery, your training program, is it the athletes you're recruiting? Like what goes into it? And I'll go ahead and plug his audio for that now.
Guys have 12, 13 out for the season. Obviously, just awful luck there. Was there anything that you guys, I guess, plan to change in your training, rest, recovery program to maybe mitigate that in the future, even past this season?
Yeah, that's a fair question, Hunter. And as a coaching staff, you're always looking at, the injuries and what might be the cause. And sometimes it's as simple as somebody plants wrong, or somebody falls on somebody. I've been through this before, where there's, you had a fair amount of shoulders, and you look at how you're training in the off season. We'll look at everything, so as we always do. There's nothing right now that stands out, with the number of injuries that we got at this time. But I think that's a good question, and we certainly have eyes on it. And if there's something that we have to tweak or do differently, we certainly will to give us our best chance for our athletes.
Yeah. So that game, like I say, it's another one you're going on the road against the defending conference champs, and they handle business against a bad football team. With that, I say I want to talk a little bit about kind of where we're at right now with the Tim Albin situation. Like, we're not going to get on here every week and say, give him time, give him time. I don't think anyone wants to hear that. I guess, Hannah, open it up to you. Like the message of this pod, we're trying to figure out what the listeners want. I don't know if you want to kind of expand on that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, I think right now we're kind of at a crossroads. We were talking a little bit before this. Obviously, the season for Charlotte football is not going the way that we hoped. I mean, I think Coach Alvin is in a position where he is building this program, and it starts here. I mean, he didn't immediately go to Ohio and have a winning season. So it's going to take some time. And we kind of want to know from the viewers and the listeners about what content you guys want to hear, because obviously we listen to things too, and we don't want to hop on a podcast or listen to the radio of a team, that's coming in and not having a win every single week. So rehashing things that you've already heard, it kind of gets redundant. So we want to know from the listeners what it is that you want to hear, what it is you want us to do. Do you want more interviews? Do you want um, us to talk about different topics, or just we're trying to figure out where we want to go from here in this new direction with how the season's going. So let us know.
Yeah.
Comment on Twitter whenever we post the link to the podcast. Comment, in the comments on YouTube. Let us know, because this is what this podcast is for, is to provide content for you guys. So we just want to know what it is that you're looking for right now.
Yeah, I would say my favorite content that I made of the season was the all 22 breakdown after North Carolina. I followed up with Charlotte, and they did not give me access to all 22. So unfortunately, I can't do that. I'll go back to the well and ask again. Because when you're watching a bad football team, I think at least like my frustration is I can't point out here's what's going wrong or pull up the all 22 of Zach Wilkie in the first half. Because I asked him today, or maybe, yeah, I asked him today, what did you see on tape? And he said he's missing open receivers. He's reading the plays wrong. We need him to not do that, basically. And that's in a position where I hear that and I say, okay, let's go dive into that. The problem is we don't have access. TV copy doesn't pick up the route development, the route trees, things like that. So like I say, I'll go back, see if we can get something on that front again, because like I say, covering a football team that is struggling week in and week out, I just want to highlight the good players, be
Yeah.
able to provide context to the situation and say this is what they need. Because when I'm asking Tim Albin, hey, are you considering a play call change? It almost feels short-sighted on me, because I know, A, they're playing with a second, third string quarterback. This is not a full deck for Charlotte. And even if it was, I don't think this is a talented team. And we talked
Yeah.
about that before.
They're playing with what they got at this point.
Yeah, and you're trying to find guys that are going to rise to the top, which is why they're playing 10 offensive linemen. And I think the biggest plus for Charlotte, but it kind of reinforces a point that Tim made earlier in the season, is they had only two penalties in the game Saturday. That's their lowest total of the season. But Tim Alvin said it even like after the App State game. He said, you take all the penalties, turnovers out, we still lose. We saw that Saturday. You just two penalties, one turnover when the game was already over, and they're still down three scores against a not so great Army team this year. That's kind of where they're at. A quick update with the Observer too, and I'm just going to be very direct about this. I'm a freelance writer. I get paid per story. If you guys click on the stories, there's more of a chance that I get to write more stories. If you guys don't click on the stories, there's less of a chance. So it sucks to say, but like how the team does and what the readership is directly impacts my ability to write what I have going on as far as coverage for the team. So you'll see less in the Observer more than likely as this continues, because this team is really on 1-11 watch. Like their best win our best chance to win is probably Saturday against Temple at home. They've
Yeah.
got a couple more games. I mean, they're undefeated against ECU, so you hope that that continues this year in Greenville. But that's kind of where we're at with that. So appreciate y'all supporting my work, supporting the pod, supporting what I do in the Observer. But if you want to continue to see it, keep
Yeah.
clicking, even though they lose. So that's my very direct way to say appreciate it.
Keep
But
reading Hunter's stories. More of the
yeah,
story.
it helps. With that, I say let's go ahead and get to actually really fast before we do Temple. Charlotte dropped their schedule for this upcoming season. Hannah, do you want to tell us who they
Yep.
got?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. I mean, they have the Citadel at home. They open it up. They have Ole Miss at home. Lane Kiffin is coming to Jerry Richardson Stadium. That will be interesting for sure. They're on the road at App State, on the road at Louisville, home for East Carolina, home for Memphis, home for Navy, and then home for Tulane. I think that's really cool to have four back-to-back home games in a row.
So, so
That's the
r-
best, but
yeah, real quick, it's actually so the conference slate isn't finalized on the dates yet. We just know the opponents. So it's
yeah,
not going to be, we won't know that until like
yeah, all TBD.
summer, but at least we know the non-con is that's when it's going to be who it's going to be. And I'm very glad that they have a tune-up game before they get Ole Miss. But keep going
Yeah.
with the road opponents.
Road opponents at North Texas, at Temple, at Tulsa, and then finishing out the season on the road at UAB.
Yeah, it's the home slate is crazy if you
Mhm.
think about it. So it's Ole Miss at home. Mentioned Citadel, that's your FCS team, but then you have, I mean, Navy, Tulane, Memphis, East Carolina. As far as
That's
American
tough.
Conference schools, yeah, it is a tough home schedule. It's a fun home schedule though, and I think the best thing for year two, Tim Albin, when that time comes around, is that all those games are at home because a lot
Mhm.
of those games are on the road this year, and I think some of the it's just making a tough season even tougher. And then you look at the road games. So at North Texas, North Texas is a much improved program, but then you go at Tulsa, at UAB, who just fired Trent Dilfer, and then forgive me, I'm forgetting the last one.
At Temple after North Texas.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one because they play at the Link. They play in Philly.
That's awesome.
So we'll see about that. But at least we now know the opponents. There's some winnable games on there. They're going to have to do all right in this non-con. And that's the biggest thing that we've continued to talk about because the schedule shapes up non-conference wise exactly how it did this year. SEC school, ACC school, App State, and an FCS. So Lane Kiffin comes back to Jerry Richardson Stadium for the first time since I think it's 2019
Hmm.
when he was with FAU.
Yep.
ECU comes back. Like I said, every time Charlotte plays Memphis, something crazy happens. Hannah, I feel like we've been there for both of those.
Oh,
So 2026 outlook, I think, is
no.
better, but who knows?
Who knows? Maybe the foundation will be laid. They get a lot of talent, and you never
Yeah.
know.
So last thing we'll hit today before we get to the Trexler Ivy. Wow. Last thing we'll hit today before we get to the Trexler Ivy interview. I do want to say he tells a few Biff Poggi stories on there, and you don't want to
So
miss
fun.
some of those. So stick around for Trex. I was thinking about players to get on because they won't make the quarterbacks available right now. Like we can't talk to Wilkie, we can't talk to Loftus, which they did the same shit last year with Purdy, and it was like,
Yeah.
this is your best player. Let's talk to him.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at, and so I figured who better to talk to than like the GOAT third string to first string Charlotte quarterback. I mean, he
Absolutely.
saved some jobs for Biff Poggi against Gardner Webb, whether it was last year, a couple years ago. I'm blanking on it now, and did it a couple times. So it was fun to have him on the show. But before we get out of here, let's talk Temple. Homecoming Saturday, 3:30. Charlotte's wearing the throwback helmets with Old Norm on there. I like what they're doing.
Yeah. Love that.
Uh, it should be a fun environment. I don't know what the crowd is going to look like. I haven't gotten any kind of update on that. I hope it's good. I mean, it's homecoming. It's a 3:30 kick against a decent conference team. So Hannah, you got to talk to these guys at American Media Day. What do you know about the Temple Owls?
Well, right now, I mean, 3-3, 1-1 in conference. They almost beat Navy, who's unbeaten. I mean, 6-0, 4-0, 31-32. Navy wins it.
Yeah, Navy won on the
So,
last play of that game, which was crazy.
yeah. So if you're Charlotte, you're kind of worried about Temple coming in and ruining homecoming. I mean, I got to talk to Evan Simon at Media Day, their quarterback, and he threw for a season high of 345 yards against Navy. And he is a dynamic quarterback. I think he's a little bit more of a passer than he is a runner. But they're a good team. I mean, they're also coming in with a new head coach. Casey Keeler is coming in for his first year, and he's a good coach. I mean, obviously it's going to be a test for Charlotte. I mean, we talked in the post-game presser today. Hopefully, Coach Chapman has got the run game situated because obviously the run game didn't happen after the first quarter in the game against Army. So I think Charlotte really needs to utilize that, especially with Zach Wilke being a little bit more inexperienced. You talk about that too, like Zach Wilke's kind of just been thrown into the fire. Obviously he
Yeah.
wasn't in that first quarterback battle between Connor Harrell and Grayson Loftus. So he hasn't really played at this level. And so I think the more he gets reps, maybe the more we'll see him continue to grow. And maybe this is going to be his Trexler Ivey story on Saturday. We never know, but it's definitely going to be a test for sure. And Charlotte definitely needs a win and definitely a confidence booster at this point in the season. We talked to the players and I asked them about the morale in the locker room, and neither one of them looked encouraged. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah, I think that they got to pick maybe not better players to come up there, but more talkative and players and stuff like that. Because yeah, I agree. It was just kind of like,
yeah,
and for any Charlotte fan that watches the YouTube pressers, you'll know exactly what I'm saying.
right.
Yeah, with this one, so Charlotte is a 12 and a half point underdog, over under set at 48 and a half. So I think the biggest question becomes, just as it's been for a while now, is how does Charlotte score? I asked Tim today because obviously they want to run the ball. Like Rod Gainey played relatively well in the first half of that game. He put the ball on the ground, like I say, multiple times, which is a theme for Charlotte this season. CJ Stokes did it 3 games in a row. He didn't play in this game. Rod Gainey put the ball on the ground twice, only lost one of the fumbles. And I think that's the biggest thing is Charlotte's offense has a turnover in all 6 games this season. And when the margins are this thin, every possession matters. You can't cost them. So I think I asked him like, how do you simulate the run game if it's not working? Whether that's just a quick passing game, whether that's playing off the RPOs, screen game. I just kind of want to see this team start playing like they have nothing to lose, and I don't think that they're doing that. Like I'm watching UCLA run fake punts and do fun shit because they know that their season is pretty much over. Like
Yeah.
Charlotte, your season is pretty much over. Like this is a 1-5 team. Pretty good chance it's 1-6 on Saturday. I want to see them play like a team with nothing to lose. Like this isn't a situation where you're tanking for a draft pick. Like you just are what you are. You got what you got at this point. I want to see Todd Fitch change the tempo. I want to see them change how they operate, get creative, show us something to give the fans some excitement, some hope. Because the three and outs have plagued the season. The turnovers, the injuries are the biggest deal, obviously. But even without, and yeah, I assume Shea Taylor, Johnny King will both play this week, which is big. Uh, I thought it was interesting that Albin didn't know who was on the helmet mic for the defense. That's interesting. I know that Army's offense is like he said, they had 4 defensive calls. It just depends what the tackles do as far as blocking down. Uh, I just at this point, like I say, I want to see a team that is playing like they've got absolutely nothing to lose because this team doesn't. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at with it. Um,
I think for the fans too, I think the fan base deserves a win this
yeah,
Saturday. Niner Nation has continued for years to show up and be loud, be proud, and support a team that has yet to really have a winning season. And I think this would really be a boost in morale, especially for the team, but more so importantly for Niner Nation who continues to fund this program and uh, believe when there's not much to believe in.
Yeah, and it's a pretty fun like 3 game stretch right here. You got Temple at home, Saturday homecoming. You got North Texas, who's really good. Friday night, the following weekend, October 24th. Then you're on the road at East Carolina. You got to buy in between there. And I can't remember if I've said this on the pod, but I will not be covering that game. I've got a fall wedding. So shout out fall weddings. A good friend of mine getting married. So won't be at that one. So if Charlotte loses at ECU, y'all can all blame me for not covering it. So that is where we're at there. The rest of the way, the schedule, like I said, that's the first 3: Temple, North Texas, ECU. Then they've got UTSA at home. Then they're at number 9, Georgia, and at Tulane, who will probably be ranked after this week. And one more thing you and I talked about off air is that South Florida Memphis should be a primetime game.
Yeah.
There is no reason that's a noon kick, 11 a.m. Central Time. That makes no sense at all.
I feel like
That's
Memphis every year, though, doesn't get the credit that they deserve. They've been competitive every single year,
every year. Yeah.
and they have still yet to get the coverage that I think that they deserve.
Yeah. And just for a minute, I love watching South Florida play, by the
I
way.
did too.
They are so much fun to watch. The tempo is relentless. They
Yeah.
literally only slow down to bleed the clock when they're up 4 scores. And they're still running their offense just at a slower pace. They
A healthy Byron Brown is dangerous.
Yeah, they just have so many guys and the speed. Like I asked Reed Williford about it after Charlotte asked South Florida, what was it, 2 weeks ago? And I asked him about the speed and he literally just busted out laughing and was like, yeah, dude, like there's
Yeah.
nothing we can do. And that tells you a lot. And I wrote a little bit about South Florida because I mean, they've had a bunch of 1 and 2 win seasons, similar to Charlotte. They're only 16 years older than Charlotte as a program. Obviously, Florida is like chalked with talent. I don't really know how far the Carolinas are behind that as far as like high school football talent, but the coach, the job that Alex Galesh is doing there is unbelievable. And Cartavius Norton is back in good health, good spirits. So happy to see that. But yeah, they're fun to watch if you're a Charlotte fan. Tailgating this Temple game Saturday, check out that noon kick between. Actually, that's the following week. Yeah, you'll be free. So Memphis and South Florida are October 25th. Charlotte plays the night before. So watch that game. It's going to be a fun game and it's really good football. So that's pretty much what I've got. Hannah, you got anything else before we get to this Trex interview?
No, I think that's all I got.
Gotcha. And one more quick update. Jeremy will be back on the pod soon. We've all been traveling a lot. Hannah's got football, feels like every weekend. But Hannah and I will be at the homecoming game this Saturday, so come say hello. We'll be probably wandering around like usual before the game. As always, thanks for tuning in. Enjoy this conversation with Trexler, good dude, and gives you a little insight behind the Biff Poggi curtain, which is still so funny to me. But as always, appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll be back soon. Trex, man, it's talked to you quite a bit over the years. Some wild comebacks, some interesting games, a lot of fun, and I appreciate you making the time to come on the pod, man. Kind of overdue on my part.
Yeah, appreciate it. Glad to be here. Missed being around the Charlotte area and being around the guys, but thanks for having me on.
Definitely, man. That Spartanburg, South Carolina life now, man. I told you off air, I got some family there, familiar, passing that giant ass peach going down 85 or
Yeah,
whatever road that
I
is.
was up here in Georgia.
Yeah, man. But got a few questions for you, man. We're gonna talk a little bit about kind of your time with the team. Charlotte's you know all about the injury carousel at quarterback. We'll get to that here in a little bit, but I'm curious for you, man. You joined the team in 2020. That was the COVID year. Played all the way through this past season. You were with 3 different coaches. What feels like, I mean, obviously years of different teams. What do you think the best team you were on was, maybe regardless of record?
Ooh, man. I mean, definitely all those Chris Reynolds teams had great potential. I know we got hit bad his last year with obviously his injury and some other things, but I mean we were deep on those teams. Obviously, you got guys like Grant DeBose, Victor Tucker, Elijah Spencer making up your receiver room. Um, had guys like John Alexander on defense playing safety. Prince Bima, who'd been there, forever. Um, that was a great team. Also, I loved our last year with Biff. I think towards the end of the year, Purdy really got in a rhythm. We were playing a lot more freely. Um, we were just out there playing. Omega Blake, kind of had his breakout game. Kind of reminded me of a Grant DeBose
Yeah.
type of
Go
player.
long.
Yeah, just he's down there somewhere.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I loved all the teams. I mean, we had great players on every team. We had great coaches throughout the years. Whew, I would either say it's hard to judge with the COVID year. You only play 6 games, and it's such an odd year. But I'd say that 2021 season with when we beat Duke, or my last season. So one of those teams I think would be a pretty fun matchup.
Yeah, no doubt. It was the 2021 team to me always stuck out because what you mentioned, it felt like there was talent, like crazy amounts of talent on both sides of the ball, but whether it was internal stuff or just kind of how the chips fell, is like a hot start
Right.
and just kind of dwindled off at the end. And then this past year was the difference, like kind of a different way of a slower start, and then late in the season you get those wins. I got to ask you this specific. What was it like watching UAB miss both those kicks in what was your last game, man?
Yeah.
Because that was crazy for my seat. So
Yeah, dude. I mean, when you talk about just those 2 kicks, I remember standing on the sidelines and just thinking like, no way it's going to end like this, man. Like,
yeah,
um, and like the whole week we were, Coach Miller was talking all week, like you're gonna take those last snaps in victory formation. Like we're gonna get out ahead of these boys, and you're gonna go in there and finish your career, the way it should be finished. But it's at the end of the day, like that didn't matter. Winning that game mattered, and I remember the first kick it missed, and I like ran out on the field, and all of a sudden, seems like every time I run out on the field and get excited, there's like something has happened. I did it in the Gardner Webb game wasn't over. I did it in the Tulsa game wasn't over. And so
maybe it's good luck though. Won all 3 of them.
it is. It is.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, God, like okay. And then I walked back, and I'm like, no way it ends like this. Like where he misses it, and then it gets called back, and then they make it. I was standing next to Jackie Moon, my roommate, and he missed it, and we just both sprinted out on the field. I hugged him. I didn't know what to think. That was a great time, great memory to end it with a win. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. That was a wild one. It was kind of a fitting into that era too, I think.
Right. Especially to do it at home was definitely cool too.
No doubts. I want to ask you a question. It's relatively topical right now. Charlotte, we talked off air, putting Zach Wilkie in the game, a guy that starts the season as the third string guy, transferring in from Southern Miss, played some JUCO ball at Northwest Mississippi. And you have this quarterback battle that lasts kind of all off season, and then the week of the opener, Connor Harrell's named the starter. See him go down with an injury. You hate to see that. You're familiar with things like that. Grayson Loftus has kind of a rough start, and then they put Wilkie in the game Friday night at South Florida, and you can see kind of a resurgence, like the offense kind of finds life. And you've been in that situation multiple times, and you've been on both sides of that situation. And for you coming into a game cold off the sideline like that, and you pretty much know, hey, we're losing, it's on me to pull us together. You have to have like a supreme confidence in the huddle. You and I have talked about that, but what is kind of the preparation like to get yourself up for those moments and be able to perform when it's a snap of the finger and you're in the game.
Yeah. Um, it's definitely it's definitely not something you can ever prepare for like the first time it actually happens. But like I've had countless coaches tell me over the years, my dad's drilled in my head, it doesn't matter where you are on the depth chart, you prepare like you're the starter. Like when I came in at COVID and we got 9 quarterbacks, and I'm probably 8 or 9 at the time.
Yeah.
I was like, really, like, I'm not going to play, but he's right. And that helped me those years where, I sat in quarterback rooms with guys who knew how to prepare, coaches that knew how to prepare. And then, when it happens, you just kind of, especially like when you're third string, all week, you're not exactly getting a ton of live, team reps. You're getting just kind of individual reps. So you're still throwing, you're still doing your thing, but it's a whole different ball game when you get thrown in with 10 other guys and 11 on defense.
Yeah.
So it's challenging, man. But I prepared like I was a starter those weeks. I'm in there watching film like with Max Brown, with Purdy, or with Jalen Jones, with Dom, with whoever was in there at the time with me. Just watching film, and it got to the point where it was like it really did not matter where I was, 1, 2, or 3 at that week. Like I just told myself I'm going to play tomorrow. I'm going to play this week. Whatever it was. But yeah, man, it's not easy. It's not easy to do, but those moments definitely they build character. You're kind of thrown into the fire. You got to figure it out. But I had great teammates around me. When that happened, everyone rallied around me like, "Hey, man, we got you. Go do your thing. We believe in you." Great coaches who said the same thing. And then when you prepare, you're that much more confident when you go in there.
No doubt, man. And you had a couple notable comebacks. You mentioned Tulsa, you mentioned Gardner Webb, and I want to talk about Gardner Webb for a minute because, and this is just me talking. You don't have to address these things, but it felt like Biff was riding with Purdy until the wheels fell off in that game. Like that was the guy he brought in. Mike had recruited him before his time at Charlotte, and then I can't even remember. I think it's 20-3 or something like that. They put you in the game, and it's like just a complete turnaround. And I remember asking you after the game, like, does it come time where it's like, hey, put some respect on my name? This is what I can bring to the table. These are, I mean, you look at the drive chart, I think you had one incomplete pass in the comeback, and it was a throwaway or something like that. It was maybe a game of your life, and I mean, it saved a lot of jobs, I'll say that. So, what was that night like for you? And I guess how fun of a moment was that to get out there and show what you got?
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely definitely one of my all-time favorite games I've ever been a part of. I've ever played. I remember Purdy went down, and it was just like kind of like what we're just talking about, where something in your mind kind of clicks, and you're like, "Yeah, it's your time now. You're up." And I told myself like, we're gonna go win this game. Like, just like don't overdo it. You got to play your game. You got plenty of time. It's a 2-score game. Like, go win this thing. It's all it kind of was. And Coach Miller kept it simple. We kept calling the same plays, that we were running all game. They opened up. I had other players make great plays. Sean Brown, he had a game. He saved me. one of the all time iconic
Yep.
pictures of all time, Charlotte football history. But and then the defense, coming through at the end. That was definitely one of the best nights of my life. It was just, I don't know, I just kind of just blacked out, and it felt like God just kind of took over for me, and just I wasn't even thinking. But it was cool to share that with my teammates and the family, and yeah, man, that was a night to remember for sure.
No doubt. And you said something, I kind of want to pick your brain for with it for a minute. Like I played high school football, but I've never was never quarterback, like never played at those levels. So obviously OCs know the strengths of their quarterbacks and quarterback
Right.
coaches, whatever it may be. So you said just then, like the plays don't really change, but I'm curious, like, I guess I want to ask you more about that as far as like, do you think that's a common theme? Because Tim Albin has talked about doesn't matter who's in at quarterbacks, we're going to call the plays to win the game. But some of these skill sets are different. Like current Grayson Loftus wants to be in the pocket, kind of similar to your game. He's like get the ball out quick, and then maybe a Wilkie, someone different who is ready to pull the ball down and run if it comes time.
Wait, repeat that one more time. My bad.
Yeah, I don't know how good of a question that was, but like how common do you think that is that the play calls
Oh,
stay the
like the
same?
play calls stay the same.
Yeah, independent of
Yeah.
the quarterback.
Well, I will say I will kind of correct myself a little bit. At least when like Purdy was in there, that kid's arm is so strong.
Yeah,
You
dude.
can't ignore that. Like way stronger than my arm. Max Brown had a really strong arm, stronger than his arm. So yeah, there were some times where like, all right, he's just calling a go ball.
Yeah.
Not that the other quarterbacks can't throw a go ball, but Purdy can just sit back there and literally just let the guy run right by him and just drop it in a bucket. But at the same time, you throughout the week of practice, you everyone's running the same plays because it's a certain game plan for a certain defense, whatever type of scheme they run. If it's quarters a lot, if it's man, so all the quarterbacks are still getting the same reps, the same scheme. I would say it's I would say it's pretty universal just because it keeps it simple for the guys, but at the same time, I know coaches probably will probably say we're going to keep it as similar, but you're going to well, sometimes you have that superstar where like a Lenore Sellers where definitely going to call more runs for that guy than maybe the other guy who was a pocket passer. But I think it's pretty common to keep the same scheme, but if you got a guy that can throw it 80 yards, you're going to definitely utilize that arm.
Yeah. Yeah, I was shocked when Purdy didn't land the starting job at Wake. I think he'll eventually end up in that seat. Kid's a stud. Um,
Yeah, no doubt.
I want to ask you, man. So you did it with 2 years under Poggi. Just the quarterback carousel from my seat. It was like one week it's X guy, next week it's the other. It's like the Uno reverse card. You never know if you throw a pick, they might put in Jalen or they might put in whoever, and if they do throw it, you're back in. For you, I'm just curious, like just overall thoughts on that, and like how do you manage that as both a person, because I mean we're all people, we all want to play, compete, and win, but also like just dealing with that overall.
Right. I'd say I was kind of forced to kind of grow up and mature a lot during that era. Um, I was obviously Healy area. I was more of obviously the developing role, but once I got to the Biff era, it was I worked myself up to the depth chart to where you know you're right there in the competition every day, and it's hard to it's hard to sit in the same room as a guy that you are constantly competing with every day. And you look on Twitter and you look on social media and everyone's trying to divide us, split us apart. This guy can do this. This guy's better at this. But I was also really lucky to be in a room with guys like Jalen Jones, guys like Max Brown, Deshaun Purdy, James Foster, Xavier Owens. Like I never had any issues ever in a quarterback room. We always had great guys. Um, so that made it so much easier, come game time. Hey, me and Jalen pregame warmups. Jalen's got to start today, but we're dapping each other up before the game. We're talking like, hey, like we both know what could happen. So hey, if it's me, let's do it. If it's you, like let's do it. I got your back. So that was always good to have, confident. You got guys confident behind you. But it can can always be tough. It's one play. It's an interception. It's an injury. It can happen like that. So you gotta stay real locked in throughout the whole game because you just never know when it's going to come.
No doubt. And there's a picture that kind of resonates in my mind off that point. It was after Max broke his, or the thumb, or whatever the specific injury was, and he's on the sideline hyping you up after a big play. That
Yeah,
sticks out in my mind.
yeah. Again, that's just the type of guy. It's if you win, we all win, man. It's so
Yeah,
very lucky to have those guys. Makes playing quarterback a lot easier.
no doubt. A couple just kind of quick questions. If you even have memories of them or stories, best halftime speech you heard in your college career. Anything that sticks out on that front? Because I mean, I see stuff about halftime being overblown, like halftime adjustments. It's not that long, but there have been night and day performances half to half covering this team.
Yeah. Trying to think. Trying to think of like what was said maybe like at Tulsa's halftime or Gardner Webb. I do remember
Gardner
maybe,
Webb's got to be crazy.
maybe
That
not
was
a
Wilkes was in there, right?
he
Steve,
was. He
yeah,
was like our yeah, he was our pregame. He was our pregame guy. He got us fired up. He was good. I enjoyed having him around. I didn't even realize he was defensive coordinator for the Jets. Um, but um, I don't have like a good speech, but I have two really funny stories of a halftime speech. So Gardner Webb at halftime, I don't know what the score was. We were losing. Jordan Moko, remember that guy?
guard. Yep.
Oh yeah, big guy. I think he's at California now. I think he's playing well. Um, and that guy is just like he's wired, man. That guy is hell of an alignment and like has your back no matter what. And he wants to go out there and hurt somebody, like put somebody in the ground. And he was like, because I'm not losing to Gardner Webb. His Australian accent. I am not losing to Gardner Webb. He's like slamming chairs. It was, I mean, as funny as it wasn't funny. It was just his accent, and it's just so funny to hear that coming
Yeah.
from that guy. Um, and then I do remember Rice, my last year, where I just
On
had a
the road.
terrible first half. And I had a feeling I'd probably get pulled at obviously playing that half. We walk in the locker room. The first 10 minutes of halftime, the coaches aren't in there. They're meeting. You walk in, guys are getting treatment, guys are getting snacks, kind of just chilling for the first 10 minutes. The next 10 minutes, your position coach will run in there, 3 to 5 minute combo. Hey, this, and this. We're going to stick to this, change this. But obviously that game, I was playing terrible. Guys were tight. Guys were stressed. Coaches were freaking out. And I'm trying to like hype up. I'm trying to hype up the offense. Like, hey, like that's on me. Like, I'll play better. This and that. Biff comes out. Shut up. Look, points at me. You shut up. And that's Biff, man. I love that guy. I miss him. Hope he's doing well up in Michigan. But he looked at me, and it was a heat of the moment thing. He looked at me. You shut up. And he talked, and then he was like, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, Purdy, you're in the game. So that was a really humbling moment for me. But definitely, we look back on it. We look back on it and we laugh all the time.
Yeah, that sounds like a Biff Poggi statement, dude. He was I remember it was kind of night and day from Healy because Healy was great with the cameras, but you couldn't really like I could never really feel like I could crack Healy off like on get through the
Right.
media training. And Biff was different, dude. Like we'd go do media and then he'd text me, come out on the patio. He's out there smoking a cigar and he's just like, "So what do you think of the quarterback?" And I'm like, "Well, are you are you about to kill me out here, dude? Like what's about to happen?" And yeah, he's did you see some of the clips from the post games when he was at Michigan a couple weeks ago?
Smoke a Cuban cigar and go eat some ice cream or something.
Go to the
It's right
hospital,
on brand.
yeah.
Yeah, we go to the hospital.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's the character
that's right
dude.
on brand.
Yeah.
He's
And
he was made for the media.
yeah.
He used to always joke with us. I'm gonna tell him this. I'm gonna tell him that. I'm gonna tell him this.
Yeah, we got 8 or 9 starters out for JMU and
Yeah, yeah. I remember when, like, I think we got out of a practice or something. We looked at that and we were like, "Are we missing something?"
Yeah.
But
No, I
it's a gamesmanship, you know?
yeah. Yeah, man. It's he was a character, dude. He while we're on the topic of Biff, it's interesting because obviously he was like wildly successful in high school coaching, turn around that program. Uh had never really done it in college, but you get 2 years of experience with it. Why do you think it struggled to work out, I guess, in the back half? And obviously this isn't a tell all, but just curious.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, like you said, it is tough running a college football program. It is tough, especially now with the transfer portal, NIL, and bringing guys in. And I think part of the reason was, well, 2023, we had two different teams that year. We had Healy and we had
The old
OG.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah, we had
And a
Healy
lot of it
guys.
was the SFA guys.
Yeah, St. Francis guys, Maryland guys, which, like, for the most part, like, we were fine, but there was just so many different personalities on that team. And I think Biff adopted you know, taking all these guys, and Biff was really good at getting a lot of players that maybe struggled before to, lock in, get things right. Biff was great at that. That was, what he did. But it's so hard, in such a short amount of time to
Yeah.
to turn around two teams or a team when it's kind of separated in the beginning. But and it's you got to build the culture, and then the second year we definitely started coming a lot closer. But I just think it was the amount of different guys we pulled from it. I think we had like 70 new
I mean,
guys,
dude, I
60
think it was
new
70
guys.
both years. Yeah. It's just, I mean, it's tough to do, just
Yeah,
no matter who it is.
yeah. And but yeah, I mean, we had great coaches, we had great players. It's tough, man. It's a lot of different personalities in one locker room. That's why there's only 100 guys out of 100 times 132 college football players, 100 guys that hold that trophy at the end. And they're probably all the guys that are the closest.
Yeah. No doubt. I want to ask you, so one of the guys you played with for a while, Sean Brown, fan favorite on this team right now that I mean the fans love him, Henry Rutledge, guys that have been here through three regimes. And talk about Sean's game, man, because I've been beating the table fist hand up, just throw him the ball, good shit happens. And in an offense that's struggling, three and outs, almost five a game, it's night and day when he gets those targets. So talk about his game, what he brings as a receiver, and then as a leader in that room, being one of the older guys.
Right. It was awesome to see like how far Sean has come and is still going. Um, I think he came in maybe 2021 because I don't think he was there with COVID, but he came in 21, walked on, and in practice we saw his talent. Like he'd get in there and he'd make a play, a couple plays, like great plays, a couple times a week. We're like, all right, like this guy's got something. I just like with me, like we just had a lot of developing to do, a lot more maturing to do, and just the game and like the speed of it. Um, but he took off so fast. He brings so much like experience. He's fast. He catches everything. Like I
Everything.
everything. He practice. He's not dropping any ball. If he dropped a ball, he'd almost shut down for the day because he doesn't drop balls. It's like what just happened. And he got a lot better at it over the years of his confidence. I think that plays a big part of why he's had much more success and why I hope they put him in, because when you play with confidence, like it's hard to play with confidence, when you're playing a two quarterback system like we were talking about earlier. Same thing with any other position. When you're not getting the reps and you're not playing and you know what you're capable of and you've done it at that level and all of a sudden you got pulled from that level, it's like, it messes with your head. But he's definitely one of my favorite receivers to throw to.
You're throwing to some good ones, dude.
I love throwing to tall, fast guys.
Yeah.
For sure. But I also love my Jack Casteras and my Jack Reynolds as well. Don't get that wrong. My Dwayne Thomases. Those guys bring something too. But Sean's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. I think you could throw him a jet sweep and he could take it around the corner for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. He's a good one. The fan base they've been frustrated. I'll give Todd Fish OC credit. They did play him a season high 32 snaps last week. So hopefully it keeps trending that direction, and we'll see where it goes from there. I'm curious, man. So you decided to step away from football, leading up into the season. I'm curious what kind of went into that for you. Obviously, a major decision in your life. We talked about you're going to chiropractic school, kind of changing lanes and doing your thing now. But what went into that for you, man? Because obviously that's a big decision.
Yeah. I I always I knew I wanted to do it one day. I probably around 2020, 2021 is when I knew a guy, a longtime friend. He became a chiropractor. He went to one of my rival high schools, so I knew him. His dad was our pastor. And then he has a place in Charlotte, an office in Charlotte. So I met him for lunch one day. He kind of hooked me into it. I went and got care from him, all my years of playing, and never really had any bad injuries. Going once a month definitely helps. Help the body stay healthy. But I learned so much about it by going to him, and but at the same time, I was at the time a football player, and obviously knew I can't play this game forever. I think it just came a time, my fifth year, that last year, you kind of just sit back and you're watching like these boys are good. Deshaun Purdy is good. Like this kid was 13 when COVID hit.
Yeah.
And this guy can throw it 80 yards. Like he's raw, but like this kid's good. And just kind of, realizing like it's time. I had that 6 year, which was, I always thought about it, but at the same time, an extra year of that is another year I'm putting off of school. I knew what I wanted to do, especially with the coaching change there at the end. It kind of was the icing on the cake. I probably would have thought about it a lot more had Biff and Miller been around, but I think it was time. I enjoyed my career. I enjoyed playing, did everything I did, or did everything I wanted to do, I set out to do. It was tough walking away. I definitely don't miss waking up at 5 a.m. and getting yelled at in 30-degree weather. I don't miss that, but I miss the locker room. I miss the camaraderie, the school. I miss all that stuff. But I've enjoyed, my first 2 weeks of school. It's been a grind. It'll continue to be a grind, but feel like it's kind of what I'm called to do. So that also kind of helped make the decision a little easier. Had a lot of support from friends and family. But yeah, I'll miss it, but I'll always be around it for sure.
Yeah, man. A couple more for you. You talk about like missing some of that. I'm curious, like the best environment you played in, whether it was at the Rich or on the road, dude. Like I covered some games. Like I went to South Carolina. That one sticks out a lot. That shit was nuts. Even playing at Navy, just a lot of cool different spots, man. You played at the Swamp, but which one sticks out the most to you?
Whew. Well, I'm glad we got Indiana early in the season. That's for sure.
Dude, they were fucking nice last year.
That would have been a rowdy place to play. It was very calm, middle of the day, great weather that was nice. I enjoyed that. At the Rich, definitely that Duke game was unreal. That's definitely one I remember. this will make Florida fans mad. South Carolina, way louder,
Yeah, dude, that was
way
the
louder.
craziest. That's the craziest one I've covered as a reporter, like on the road. It
That was
was the white towels, sold out, family weekend.
It's like, all right, like this is SEC ball, lights flickering, it's lights are going in and out when they're scoring, fireworks going crazy. That was, I mean, Florida was a great environment too, especially because the stands are so like straight up and down, so it's almost like they're right on top of you. And that Tom Petty song, that song was blaring all week at practice. Um, that Navy had a really good. Um, Obviously, it's not the biggest stadium, but like packed out fans. Obviously, you have all the students going crazy. That was one of the. I'll never forget that Navy game because I remember first drive, they threw like a swing pass. They ran like the mesh concept, rail route out of the backfield. Running back catches it, cribs it, backflips. It's like, all right, that's cool. And then a couple of plays I got in when we were down 38-3. A couple of plays I got in, I remember handing off that ball, and I had never played a team that it literally felt like all 11 guys on that side of the ball wanted to come kill you every time. like, like those dudes, and I know that's how they're trained, and that's why they're
Yeah.
probably so good. Like those dudes flew to the ball. Like even though we played, South Carolina, Florida teams like that, but that was crazy. And then just the team aspect of playing at Navy, like you just feel like I'm surprised. I mean, I have no idea what their home record is, but I'm surprised they barely ever lose at home.
Yeah. It makes me feel better about our armed forces hearing that.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
yeah, respect after playing those guys.
Yeah, Charlotte's headed up to Army this weekend to play at West Point. So that's
I wish I hate I'm gonna miss that in Athens.
yeah, Athens is gonna be oof. I'm gonna go down there for that one. I couldn't make it up this weekend, but I'm looking. Athens is close, man. It's not far at all. Like
Yeah,
especially from yeah,
yeah. I think it's like 2 hours from me or something. So probably
yeah,
like what,
it's
3 from Charlotte.
yeah, pretty short drive. So head down between the hedges for that one. Last question for you, man. I know you didn't play for Tim Albin, but just curious of his impressions of him. I mean, like I say, you committed to Will Healy, you played for Biff Poggi, and now Tim Albin is kind of the program's fourth coach, the third since you came around. But just overall thoughts on Albin.
Yeah. Um, I haven't gotten to interact with him, although I've heard great things. Obviously he took Ohio to what was it, like 3 straight 10-win seasons.
Yep.
And that is it's not easy to do in the MAC. Nowadays with NIL, like the money that some of these teams are getting is just nothing compared to obviously the bigger schools. But I've asked players about him; they all had great things to say about him. It kind of just seems like I don't want to say a combination of Biff and Healy because Biff is just such a character. It's kind of hard to
Yeah.
like make it somebody else, but like it's almost like he has the calmness and the calmness like kind of how Healy had, and I think he's a lot more, which I could be wrong. I think he's a lot more involved, like football wise. I know Healy and Biff were more kind of the overseers. They hired the guys. Obviously, they made the executive decisions in games, but um, yeah. So I mean, I'm rooting for him. I hope. I think he'll get it turned around. Again, it's like we talked about. It's hard to get a team going and to get a team going quick, so you can keep your job and keep it going and bring in recruits the right way. But I've only heard positive things about him. I know he's got other good staff around him. So whoever it is at Charlotte, man, I'll be rooting for him.
Yeah, no doubt. And you mentioned that Indiana game earlier, so their quarterback, Curtis Rourke, was Albin's quarterback at Ohio when they
Oh, really?
kickstarted those 10-win seasons. Yeah, and obviously you lose him in the portal, and then they were able to do it again and again. And so I think
Wow.
that
Yeah.
that it gives hope to Charlotte fans because I mean, right now, dude, like the fan base is pissed off, and it's been a lot of a struggle. You fire Biff, you bring in a guy. And when you look at Albin's track record, he's got the best, FBS track record of anyone that's coached
Right.
here. And so, I mean, even Biff came on this pod and said, give Albin time. So I think that's the holdout of hope right now for them. And hopefully they get it turned around. But see what this Wilkie kid's got, man. It's you never know when they throw a new QB in. But
something about him, man. Something about him.
no doubt, dude. Well, Trex, like I say, man, thanks for taking the time to come on. Enjoyed covering you the 4 or 5 years at Charlotte, and I'll never forget that spring game, dude, where you balled the fuck out. So that's not lost on me.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me out. Yeah, man, that spring game was fun too. I forget about that. That's like deep in the files.
Yeah, man.
Still a big debate on whether or not I was down at the 1 or I scored.
Nah, it was a tud.
It was a W.
Yes, sir. Well, appreciate you coming on, man.